Someone once said that death gives weight to life. It reminds of us of our mortality and how precious life is. But in our culture, we fear death and we don't tend to talk about it. But by talking, not only do we remember and celebrate the dear lives of those who've been lost, but we also bring into sharp focus the circumstances that led to their loss. I feel a great sadness for those who've died and those who continue to find themselves in the path of harm's way. But I also feel a deep connection and love for those who are affected because substance use has been and always will be part of the human condition. Well, one of us is free from dependency of one sort or another. Dependency or the use of substances isn't a weakness. It's part of who we are as human beings. But I also feel a deep hurt and anger at the continued loss of life and at the continuation of policies that contribute to that loss of life. I think it's okay to be angry with those in society that reject evidence-based harm reduction methods that would undoubtedly save lives. I think it's okay to be hurt at the unfair stigma that continues to make it harder for people to connect and to reach out. I'm not just talking about addiction. Addiction's just the tip of the iceberg of society's collective distress. Alcohol and drugs are just one way of how many of us cope with trauma, alienation, community disconnection, and stigma. Why is it that we can look to our friends for support if we're struggling with a sore back, but it's not okay to say, I had a rubbish weekend and I spent most of it crying because I don't know where my life's taking me? Let's turn our hurt and our anger into unrelenting energy to talk, to campaign, to improve our communities, to be kinder and less judgmental, and for the policymakers to listen to us and pay heed to the losses that we've had to endure. Let's talk and support one another so that our loved one's death has meaning beyond our personal grief and can make a difference to those who are still at risk. My work brings me a combination of the deepest heartbreak as well as the most life-affirming joy. It's heartbreaking that the incidence of alcohol, drug and suicide deaths continue to grow across Scotland. And it's a disgrace that last year there were 2,849 deaths, the latest in an upward trend that shows no sign of abating. But it's also a privilege to know people who've sustained recovery from addiction and who enjoy happy and fulfilling lives despite the difficulties they first had to endure. It's joyful to be part of a vibrant and compassionate, peer-led community that brings people together to get stronger and be more resilient. That's why I call on all of those who have a bitter lived experience of losing a loved one, not to feel disempowered or to keep their sadness quiet to themselves, but to rise up and enable the power of their voice to be heard at the highest levels, that enough is enough. More needs to be done to keep people safe until they find their path to recovery. We need to do more to challenge the stigma that's literally killing people. I hope our bitter losses will give us the energy we need to keep going until change is achieved. I call on everyone to get involved with your local family support group, your community forum, with your local alcohol and drug partnership, or a national body such as Scottish Families to make sure your essential voice is heard. Together we can ensure the loss of our loved ones was not in vain, but their death gives weight to our life to help end the suffering and enable precious recovery to be something that everyone can enjoy.